Hey guys, David here. Welcome to another episode of You're Not Alone. Um, I'm sorry that I once again haven't been posting on a day-to-day basis. I've been going through, as you probably would have guessed, there's a lot of things that were wrapping around in my mind. Uh, Sleep issues, mostly, feeling fatigued. Um, like uncomfortable with the way that I look because of losing weight and stuff like that. My only like my only saving grace, I guess, was is the psychiatrist appointment, which I'm gonna see in tomorrow actually. That's I've been telling myself only a couple more days, and that's it's been helping a bit. Um, so it's been pretty pretty bad. Um, I feel like I'm not progressing as much as I should. Like I'm eating as much as I can and all that, and it's still not enough. And like I said in every other video, I would like to see progress and seeing like progress, no matter how small or how big. Just seeing any progress is really it's really motivational because that means that what you're doing is like right, you know, and you're taking the correct path to like getting better and all that, and uh, it's either been I've been losing more weight or it's been stagnant. So right now it's been stagnant at 92 pounds. So hopefully, hopefully the psychiatrist will be able to uh, prescribe me something that I can take immediately, and I will be seeing some results fairly soon. I know that like I have I have to give it time, like couple weeks, this in order to see anything. Um, so I know it's not going to be an immediate effect, but um, as long as I'm getting something and like again the gears are turning and stuff, I think that'll be good enough for me for a little bit at least. Um, um, so today, actually not today, yesterday, I went to see my psychiatrist and I was feeling really down, and I decided I wanted I noticed that like I don't really buy anything for myself like at all. Whether it's like good food or just like anything really. Um, Part of it is financial issues because I'm on a budget. And so in my mind, I say that like these things that I'm buying aren't really like worth me buying. And then another thing is that like I get like I'll just get bored of it, you know, like within a couple minutes, and then I just wasted like $15-20 on something that I bought for myself, and I'd never pick it up again. So yeah, it's been I bet it's that's been going on for like about a couple months now. Actually, no, a couple years now. Actually, um, I don't think I really asked my parents for anything major. Partly because I don't really like expect it. And I don't want to trouble them, and I don't feel like I'm worth like, I guess like getting new things. Um, anyway, I went to the bookstore actually, and for the first time I said I wanted to get a book, and I got two books actually. This is the book that I'm currently reading. It's called Shogun. Sorry if it's a little um, yeah, it's mirrored. So it's called Shogun. It's written by James Clavell, and what the story is about is that like it's an English adventurer who wants to travel to Japan, and he wakes up in Japan. Um, his by the trading fleet that he was in. It got it got set off course. The fleet itself got like sent in different directions because of a storm, and the main character, his name is Blackthorn. Um, he uh, he is he's sent his ship is sent to Japan, where they're currently I'm only at the like chapter 7, and what happened is that like his crew got captured by the Japanese, and right now they are being being held prisoner because the Japanese have been persuaded and they think that this trading fleet that Blackthorn is currently captaining, they think they're pirates. So they're pretty wary of it, and it's pretty interesting because I don't really have like a fixation on Japan. I'm just very interested in the Japanese and the Japanese culture, and it was like very interesting to see like the brutality that's like in this book. There's a lot of like brutal things that like if you visited Japan back then for the first time, you would think that they are described as animals, as Blackthorn would call it, because like they are just cold-blooded people. Their people are very honored based back then, and they still are now, but they toned it down a bit, like a lot. But back then, with the way the Bushido, the way of the warrior, um, it's nuts. Just the brutality and like the different cultures between the Japanese and like the rest of the world. So it's a very interesting book. I My normal routine actually was originally wake up, um, like skip breakfast or just like not even or just like trying to make some breakfast, and then I just sit on my computer and I eat, and I just like lounge around on my computer. But now I've been waking up, or I'm gonna start waking up, cooking breakfast, eat a little something like eggs or something, which this is a good source of protein for me. So all I've been today I made eggs, and then I just take an hour or two and I just read a little bit. Just kind of like mix it up a bit, and I really like the story. It's a pretty thick book, has over like 1,000 pages because it's like a saga or something like that. Um, so it's a very thick book. It's going to take me a while to do, and I think this is a constructive project. Normally I didn't really like reading, just because the books that I read in high school, to me they weren't really interesting, and they just forced you to like read it and stuff, and it just felt like I wasn't reading for enjoyment. I was just reading to get a grade. But now I'm reading for enjoyment, and I'm reading to just like do something else than just stare at a computer for a long time. So, and on that's I guess that's the positive note that I've taken up a new hobby, reading, and yeah, hopefully it goes well. Hopefully, the next book. Let me see if I can find. Here it is. The next book that I got is a Star Wars book. Star Wars Legends. The Old Republic features one of my favorite characters in the universe. His name is Revan. He was a Jedi warrior that turned into a Sith disciple, and he declared himself as a Mandalorian after he defeated the Mandalorians, and he just felt like the way of the Jedi was not right. Um, he even felt that the Sith was not right as well. So I'm interested to see to read this novel because it's something that like again, he's my favorite character. Like he just looks cool. Um, he looks way different. I like the Mandalorian mask. It's 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 pretty cool, especially since he's like you see. I haven't started reading it, but I know a little bit about his lore, so to speak, from the wikis, because he's featured in the MMORPG game, massive multiplayer online role playing game, for the PC, Star Wars: The Old Republic. He was in a DLC, and yeah, he's part of like the extended universe, so to speak, not part of the original the movie trilogies or anything. So yeah, it was. I'm looking forward to this book. I've seen this book a lot in Barnes and Nobles and stuff like that, and I never ever like. I was interested in it, but I never really wanted to get it. So now that I got it, I think I'm gonna give it a read after I read Shogun. Um, but yeah, I went to the bookstore yesterday, and Books a Million over in Concord, Concord Mills. It's like a huge shopping district over there, and it was an experience to say the least. Just 'cause like I got out of my therapy session yesterday, which we talked about a lot of stuff, like my health concerns and like feeling lethargic and fatigued and stuff like that, and all these other different worries. And I decided that like you know what, I'm just gonna buy something, like just to like kind of get my like get that negativity, like stop feeling like oh I don't really deserve anything. Like I decided to get something, and I originally wanted to get just Shogun, but then I saw the Old Republic book, and I decided, you know what, fine, I'm just gonna get two books. So I bought two books, and yeah, it was very soothing to be in the bookstore. Actually, there was a lot of people in there, but like there's so many titles, and like there was a bunch of like manga series, which is like Japanese comics, and which I'm also interested in, but I read them on the internet because just because they're just there for free. But it was very like I was very like intrigued by like the selection that they had. They had like a very like wide selection over there, and that like surprised me because I thought that like oh it's gonna have like Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, and like a couple others, but like I saw a very good selection. I was very impressed. Unfortunately, I like caught up to like everything because I read them online, but I was very impressed by the selection of it. Um, so it was quite soothing, even though I was around a lot of people. Um, I didn't really pay attention to like most of the people. I just said I'm just gonna buy a book, and then I just bought a book, and then I got gas, and then I went back home and I started reading. Yeah, so hopefully this new hobby of mine that I'm now starting will take effect in a positive way. So far it has, just because I've been distracted and reading something that I'm enjoying, and I'm not like rotting away at like a computer screen like I normally do. I still like I'm trying to balance it out a little bit. So uh, yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction. Speaking of books, again, my therapist recommended another book. I have it right here. It's called Your Erroneous Zones by Dr. Dyer. Erroneous Zones is it's like your way of thinking, kind of, and how depressed people have this certain way of thinking, a bad way of thinking, negative way of thinking, which he dubs an erroneous zone. And I didn't buy the book because I listened to the audiobook uh, um, uh, said by the author, um, and he brought up some very good points. That like as we're depressed, we feel like we're being a burden by just I guess being depressed, I think. And or no, we're being a burden by not like treating ourselves with respect, which a lot of like I don't really treat myself with the kind of respect, um and or we feel like yeah. So basically what he's saying is that like you gotta stop thinking that way. um the only reason why the only burden that you're being is just to yourself by not respecting yourself. You gotta love yourself, like no matter how bad you look, or just like every fault. Like you just gotta be comfortable and love yourself. And one of the things that he says that like when you wake up, go to the mirror and just say like this is the body that I woke up in. And the reason why you say that is because for my case, in a couple days, I've stressed out about like whenever I go take a shower and I look at myself in the mirror, I see how skinny I gotten, and then I'm like, oh God, like I'm losing all this weight. I'm worrying about malnutrition. I'm worrying about like my muscles like literally like fading away and stuff. Like I'm all these different thoughts. And then when what I've been saying now for the past day or two, just like go in the mirror when I wake up and say, "This is the body that you've woken up in." And the reason why you say that is because like you just have to tell yourself to accept that this is the body that you've woken up in. You can't really like stress out about like what you could have done to do this. Like this is the present. You have to focus on the present, stop worrying about the past, which is something else that he talks about. But saying that like this is the body that you've woken up in, it just it calms me down in a sense. It makes me like, be aware of the present rather than the past or worrying about the future. Just say that like, okay, this is what I'm currently dealt with, and I just gonna have to accept the way that I look right now. Like there's no like I can't really like it's not gonna do me any good to like stress out about like what I could have done to like prevent this or like what's gonna happen to me. Like you're just gonna have to live each day like in the present, and eventually you can start doing stuff in the present that will affect the future. So I've been telling myself this is the body that I've woken up in so far every single day. And I encourage people to do that too, because I know most people out there are struggling with their body because they don't feel comfortable with their body, the way they look. Some people might be overweight, some people might be too skinny, or vice versa, or whatever. You just you gotta love yourself. You gotta be comfortable with yourself. And I know it's hard, but like telling yourself in the mirror, like just say that like, okay, this is the body that I've woken up in. Like this is my body as of right now. Just saying that, and just like you can say it once, you can say it over and over again until it like sinks in. But I encourage you guys, if you're going through any of this, like just to like say it. It really it really calms you down, to me at least. So I encourage everyone who's going through like a body struggle, to go through this way, to try this. Another thing that he says is that like I worry about the past a lot. Like a lot. Like I stressed out about like especially like elementary, middle, high school. Like I worry about everything. All I can think about is the bad things that have happened. I was a very rebellious kid when I got into 5th grade, and I made a ton of mistakes. I was a very weird kid, and I thought that like what I was doing was cool, and it really wasn't. Being disrespectful to teachers and to my other peers, and just like going down a bad path. And some days, like when I see some of my elementary school friends that have added me on Facebook, like I just get reminded of it. Like I'm like, this is how they remembered me. Like, because after elementary school, I was homeschooled, then I went to Pine Lake. Well, they went to a different middle school and then a different high school, and I was just like, wow, this is how they remember me. And yeah, it's something that like is weighing on my mind. Another thing that's weighing on my mind is like my failed love attempts, um, like decisions that I made like that pushed me this far. Like I shouldn't have done engineering. I shouldn't have even gone to college. I should have tried out Dota, because I really want to be a professional Dota 2 player. And like, oh, I should have just solo queued like since the beginning, and then I would have been a pro by now and stuff like that. Like, it's not first of all, it's not healthy to like live in the past. In Erroneous Zones, he talks about like you just have to accept that the past is the past. You gotta think to yourself, is worrying about this gonna affect what happened in the past? And the answer is just no. It's like it's not. The past happened. Like that's why it's called the past. you can't really stress about it. Like, you just have to accept the fact that, like, okay, I did these things, and you just have to move on and just like not worry about it. Um, yeah, just so I just tell myself like, okay, the past is the past. I can't change anything. And then like when I start like getting a little anxious, I just ask myself, like, well, would getting anxious and being like stressed out over these things, like, is that gonna help? Is that gonna affect anything? Like, is that gonna affect the past? Is that gonna change the past? The answer is no. Like, sorry guys, like time travel doesn't exist. We can't just go in the past, to like change things that we've done. Um, I know that we all wish we could, but like we just have to accept our past, no matter how dark and bleak it was, or bad events, or whatever. Like the past is the past, and that's what we have to accept. Um, and if you don't focus so much on the past and focus on the present, then eventually the present will like you can shape the future with the present. And like that's what's so great about the future is that like it takes what you did in the past, and you can learn from whatever mistakes you did in the past to get a better future or a better present, and you can take the steps in the present to make your future a lot better. So like we should all be working towards the future instead of working backwards. We should all be trying to move forward is what I'm trying to say, and that's what Dr. Dyer, Wayne Dyer, is trying to say. Um, Another thing that he talks about is that uh, let's see. He talked about loving your body, getting out of this mindset, accepting who you are, not worrying about the past, and characterizing yourself. Yes, is that exactly characterizing yourself? In the audiobook, I'll link it in the description below. What happened is that he was in a restaurant, and this manager at the restaurant was getting all mad because he broke some plates or something like that, and he's like, hey, like you need to like try to calm it down, like your face is getting all red, you might have a heart attack, because the manager was pretty old, and the guy said, yeah, I was recovering from a heart attack. And he's like, then why are you doing that? And he's like, I can't help it, I'm Italian. And then he just walked away. And to him, it's just like, well, that didn't really like answer anything. Like, and then he goes into greater detail about like how like we kind of characterize and generalize like people who aren't good at sports. They just say, oh, I'm not going to try this. I'm not going to play soccer or whatever because I'm bad at sports. And then, or in my case, I just say, oh, I'm not good at engineering because I'm not smart. Like, that's something that I go through. Oh, I'm not good at I'm not good at being patient because I'm impatient. Like, I'm characterizing myself, and that way of thinking, when we just say, oh, I'm not good at sports, or oh, I'm not patient because I'm impatient, or oh, I'm not that smart. Like, we start like kind of, it's like a stereotype, we start kind of like following that stereotype, so to speak. So we start like telling, like, our mind starts to like believe that like, oh, we're not good at this stuff. And then when we get offered opportunities to like, do other things, we just say no, because like we're not good at whatever like is being offered. So it takes time to break this, and it takes a lot of time for me to break this as well. But it's something that like I became aware of, because I like the more that I thought about it, the more I'm like, oh, like when I was about to buy those books, I'm just like, oh, I'm not gonna get I'm not good at reading, or oh, I don't want to read because I'm impatient. Like, that's already a characterization or a generalization of myself that might be true now, but it can be changed. And it's just something that like it takes time to adjust, and it takes time to like get out of that mindset. But the first step is, I guess, trying it and just giving it a chance, which I've been doing. So, but yeah, that's Erroneous Zones, and that's something that like it's kind of like a way of life, or like a philosophy or philosophies that I'm like following. So that's that's what I'm trying to do moving forward. So what I've been I guess struggling with, and I did this out of order. I should have started with the negative thing and worked my way up to positive things. But one of the things that I'm struggling with is that I'm like banking on the cure of my depression and everything that's wrong with me on this psychiatrist like evaluation. Like I just get in my mind or start like hyping up like this visit, saying like, oh, once I meet the psychiatrist, he's gonna give me medicine and then I'm gonna be cured and I can put all this behind me. Um, which first of all I don't think is true. Of course I don't really know because I'm not taking any medicine, but as of yet, but I know from what I've been told, I know is that it's not true because when it doesn't happen immediately and it takes time, and it could be a lot of trial and error. Certain medications won't work for certain people, and vice versa, and whatever. So it'll take a lot of trial and error, and it takes time and effort to fight this. But from what I've seen, other people like Little Kuriboh, and all that, it's worth fighting against. And I think that once you fight this and overcome it, like you'll just feel so good about yourself, you know? Like it's like I guess like winning a war, so to speak, a really like strategic war, whether it's for like land or whatever. Like it'll feel really good to overcome this, to win against this, to fight. Like fighting against this is hard. Like don't misconstrue that it's going to be easy. Um, it's a hard battle. It takes effort, and most days you don't feel like you should give, like you don't feel like motivated to do anything. Um, I know I haven't. Like I should be going to work, but I just haven't been going to work as of yet. Um, so yeah, false expectations of believing that this medicine is going to cure me, and I know for a fact that it's not going to be like it's going to help. Like it's not going to be the cure. I don't think medicine is the cure. Medicine is just there to help. It's like a piece to the cure. Because like you could take cold medicine and like not be cured, you know? Like you take the cold medicine and then you get rest, drink plenty of fluids, like eat like good healthy food, then you'll get cured, you know? But it takes time, takes effort, and takes more than just like medication. Um so that's something that I'm trying to pound into my head because right now I'm still like believing the false expectation of, oh, this medicine's going to cure me and I can move on with my life. So yeah, that's one of the things I've been like struggling with. Just false expectations and all that stuff. So um, also on another note, I noticed that the change of scenery, I felt like way better about myself when I was at the bookstore. And normally I don't really like feel that like good because there's a lot of people around and I just feel like, oh, I'm gonna get judged. But that didn't like really cross my mind. Like I saw like some high school kids who were there for like a trip or whatever, and I was in like the manga section. And normally I would be like too scared to like, oh, these people are gonna think that I'm a total like nerd and like they're gonna just judge me on like me reading like this like or looking at this book or whatever. But like I didn't really like think that. Normally I would have, but I didn't. I was just like I guess I had a goal in mind. I was just in my own bubble in a sense, and I was happy just like seeing the selection and just like browsing books and buying something that I enjoy. And I think this weekend I'm definitely gonna probably go to my parents and just do something and all that. So yeah, a change of scenery, like no matter how hard it gets, just walking and doing stuff is very rewarding. Just getting a change of scenery. Like if you live alone, then go visit like your parents. You know, just like get out of your like normal setting and like like branch out is what I'm trying to say. For me, it helped a lot because I wasn't really like I didn't feel like I was like confined or trapped. But yeah, that's what happened, and and it feels great. I think that's all the time I have today. Tomorrow is the big day, psychiatrist visit, and I'll definitely make a video for that, telling them about the evaluation, tell you guys about the evaluation and what they like are recommending and stuff like that. Um, but thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll try my very best to to make these videos daily, even if they do sound a bit boring at times. And I know that I have a very boring voice, but thank you for taking the time to watch this video. This series, You're Not Alone, was inspired by Little Kuriboh in his YouTube series, We're Still Here. Both his channel link and his video playlist link will be in the description below. Also, the audiobook link for Erroneous Zones by Dr. Wayne Dyer will also be in the description below. And please remember that you are not alone. There are other people going through the same thing that you're going through, no matter how severe it is. In the end, like always, depression is still depression, stress is still stress, and anxiety is still anxiety. There's just different levels of it. And you shouldn't feel like you are alone. That's why I'm making this series, to make you feel like, to give you, like, I guess a community, like a safe haven, so you can talk to people about it, and not feel like you're dealing with this alone. Just remember that you are not alone, and that there's other people going through this. But thank you for watching this video once again, and I hope you guys have yet another pleasant day.